Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. A change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. In the unlikely story that is America, there has never been anything false about hope. I'm inspired by the people I meet in my travels, hearing their stories, seeing the hardships they overcome, their fundamental optimism and decency. I'm inspired by the love people have for their children. And I'm inspired by my own children, how full they make my heart. They make me want to work to make the world a little bit better. And they make me want to be a better man. If there's a child on the south side of Chicago who can't read, that matters to me, even if it's not my child. If there's a senior citizen somewhere who can't pay for their prescription, who has to choose between medicine and the rent, that makes my life poorer, even if it's not my grandparent. If there's an Arab American or Mexican American family being rounded up by John Ashcroft without benefit of an attorney or due process, I know that that threatens my civil liberties. And I don't have to be a woman to be concerned that the Supreme Court is trying to take away a woman's right, because I know that my rights are next. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. One voice can change a room, and if one voice can change a room, then it can change a city, and if it can change a city, it can change a state, and if it changes a state, it can change a nation, and if it can change a nation, it can change the world. Your voice can change the world. I believe in evolution, scientific inquiry, and global warming. I believe in free speech, whether politically correct or politically incorrect, and I am suspicious of using government to impose anybody's religious beliefs, including my own, on non-believers. What I've realized is that life doesn't count for much unless you're willing to do your small part to leave our children, all of our children, a better world. Any fool can have a child. That doesn't make you a father. It's the courage to raise a child that makes you a father. No, you can't deny women their basic rights and pretend it's about your religious freedom. If you don't like birth control, don't use it. Religious freedom doesn't mean you can force others to live by your own beliefs. Making your mark on the world is hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. It takes patience, it takes commitment, and it comes with plenty of failure along the way. The real test is not whether you avoid this failure, because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into an action, or whether you learn from it, whether you choose to persevere. Hope is not blind optimism. It's not ignoring the enormity of the task ahead or the roadblocks that stand in our path. It's not sitting on the sidelines or shirking from a fight. Hope is that thing inside us that insists, despite all evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us if we have the courage to reach for it, and to work for it, and to fight for it. Hope is the belief that destiny will not be written for us, but by us. By the men and women who are not content to settle for the world as it is, who have the courage to remake the world as it should be. I have always believed that hope is that stubborn thing inside us that insists, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us so long as we have the courage to keep preaching, to keep working, to keep fighting. The study of law can be disappointing at times, a matter of applying narrow rules and arcane procedure to an uncooperative reality, a sort of glorified accounting that serves to regulate the affairs of those who have power and that all too often seeks to explain, to those who do not, the ultimate wisdom and justness of their condition. But that's not all the law is. The law is also memory. The law also records a long-running conversation, a nation arguing with its conscience. I suspect that God's plan, whatever it is, works on a scale too large to admit our mortal tribulations, that in a single lifetime, accidents and happenstance determine more than we care to admit, and that the best we can do is to try to align ourselves with what we feel is right and construct some meaning out of our confusion, and with grace and nerve play at each moment the hand that we're dealt. If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. We think of faith as a source of comfort and understanding but find our expressions of faith sowing division. We believe ourselves to be a tolerant people even as racial, religious, and cultural tensions roil the landscape. And instead of resolving these tensions or mediating these conflicts, our politics fans them, exploits them, and drives us further apart. My identity might begin with the fact of my race, but it couldn't end there. At least that's what I would choose to believe. There are people in the world who think only about themselves. They don't care what happens to other people so long as they get what they want. They put other people down to make themselves feel important. Then there are people who do the opposite, who are able to imagine how others must feel, and make sure that they don't do things that hurt people. So, she said, looking me squarely in the eye, which kind of person do you want to be? Someone once said that every man is trying to live up to his father's expectations or make up for their father's mistakes. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a certain poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself. Because it's only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. We may not be able to stop evil in the world, but how we treat one another is entirely up to us. Hope in the face of difficulty. Hope in the face of uncertainty. The audacity of hope. In the end, that is God's greatest gift to us, a belief in things not seen. A belief that there are better days ahead. At the moment that we persuade a child, any child, to cross that threshold, that magic threshold into a library, we change their lives forever, for the better. For we know that our patchwork heritage is a strength, not a weakness. The emotions between the races could never be pure. Even love was tarnished by the desire to find in the other some element that was missing in ourselves. Whether we sought out our demons or salvation, the other race would always remain just that, menacing, alien, and apart. But you don't choose the time. The time chooses you. Either you seize what may turn out to be the only chance you have, or you decide you're willing to live with the knowledge that the chance has passed you by. The success of our economy has always depended not just on the size of our gross domestic product, but on the reach of our prosperity, on the ability to extend opportunity to every willing heart, not out of charity, but because it is the surest route to our common good. To those leaders around the globe who seek to sow conflict, or blame their society's ills on the West, know that your people will judge you on what you can build, not what you destroy. Glory and tragedy, courage and stupidity, one set of truths didn't negate the other. For war was contradiction, as was the history of America. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment to support my channel so that it is more enthusiastic to motivate you.